Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight here on Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilchi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting all the day's top stories from India and across the world. Let's start with the headlines. Mamata Banerjee is sworn in as the Chief Minister of West Bengal for the second consecutive time. Show of strength with Nitish Kumar, Akhilesh Yadav and Arvind Kejriwal in attendance. Mamata says it is a good beginning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi becomes the first PM to attend the North-Eastern Council in over 30 years. Says the country cannot develop if the region is neglected. Parliament's Public Accounts Committee decides to take up the CAG report on AgustaWestland choppers issue. A strong demand for taking up the report was made at PSC meeting on the 18th of May. US President Barack Obama undertakes a historic visit to Hiroshima, says should not allow the memory of the attacks to fade, meets survivors and calls for a nuclear weapons-free world. And China expresses strong dissatisfaction with G7 statement on contentious South China Sea issue. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has repeated Tokyo's opposition to acts that try to change status quo by force. Our top story, Mamata Banerjee was sworn in as the Chief Minister of West Bengal for the second consecutive time today. And the main highlight, though, of the ceremony in Kolkata was the presence of several regional bigwigs, including Chief Ministers of Bihar, UP and Delhi, creating a buzz over the formation of perhaps a federal front. After the swearing-in, Mamata Banerjee announced cabinet portfolios in the presence of the media personnel. When asked about the prospects of a new front, though, Mamata said that she is happy with the good beginning.
It's a political get-together. Sometimes if we have a cup of tea also, we can discuss. With the political persons, what we will discuss? Without the political situation or the economic situation. Sometimes we discussed. But the situation was very peaceful. Everybody is happy. Everybody is honored. We are also honored. I think this is a good beginning. Of course, it's a beginning for the people of the country and beginning for all the state development work and whatever you say.
I, Kesharinath Tripathi, Governor of West Bengal, hereby appoint Honorable Mamata Banerjee as Chief Minister of the State of West Bengal.
TMC chief sworn in as the Chief Minister of West Bengal for the second consecutive time. Mamata Banerjee, who rode to power again after her spectacular showing in the assembly elections, took the oath of office and secrecy in Bengali at a function on the arterial Red Road in Kolkata.
আমি মমতা ব্যানার্জি ঈশ্বর ও আল্লাহর নামে শপথ করিতেছি যে বিধি দ্বারা স্থাপিত ভারতের সংবিধানের প্রতি আমি অকপট শ্রদ্ধা ও নিষ্ঠা পোষণ করিব.
Prime Minister Modi took to Twitter to congratulate her. He said he is looking forward to working closely with her government for the state's growth. While the Congress left combined and the state BJP boycotted the ceremony, Union Ministers Arun Jaitley, Ashok Gajapati Raju and Babul Supriyo were in attendance. Jaitley assured that political differences will not be a hindrance in Bengal's development.
It's a great challenge now for any government, including the Trinamool government, to put its economy back to the rails. As far as central government is concerned, we will, in letter and spirit, abide by every ingredient of our federal responsibility and assist the West Bengal government and the people of West Bengal. That in no way will be impacted by the political character of the government here.
The 42-member TMC ministry has 29 cabinet ministers, including the Chief Minister, 5 ministers of state with independent charge and 8 ministers of state.
I, Kesharinath Tripathi, Governor of West Bengal, on the advice of Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister of West Bengal, hereby appoint the following persons as cabinet ministers and ministers of state for the state of West Bengal.
Prominent cabinet ministers include Amit Mitra, Subrata Mukherjee, Partha Chatterjee, Shobhandev Chattopadhyay, Farhid Hakim and Soban Chatterjee, who is also the mayor of Kolkata. Women ministers include Shashi Panja, Asima Patra and Sandhyarani Tudu. The new ministry has 18 new faces. The event was also a rallying point for regional powers. Those in attendance at the ceremony included Chief Ministers Nitish Kumar, Akhilesh Yadav, Arvind Kejriwal. Lalu Yadav and Farooq Abdullah were also present. The buzz was the possibility of the formation of a federal front.
ममता बनर्जी जी को बधाई देने आया हूं और पश्चिम बंगाल की जनता को भी जो उन्होंने पिछले 5 वर्ष बंगाल की सेवा की, लोगों ने पुनः उनको जनादेश दिया है। पश्चिम बंगाल की जनता भी बधाई की पात्र है और ममता जी भी।
I think we'll support, we'll sit together, work out, and whatever is best for this nation, we will think about that. There is every possibility of any front that might come which will save India from the future disaster.
Mamata's landslide win has positioned her as a possible major player on the national level. She single-handedly steered the TMC to a spectacular victory, winning 211 of the 294 seats in the assembly, defeating the Congress left combined and the BJP. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, for more on this story, we're joined by Aditi Fadnis, political editor with Business Standard, joining us in studio this evening. Aditi, as far as they're concerned, it does seem like talks are on. At least that's the kind of, inclination or the kind of hints that they've been giving. Do you think it is the start of yet another attempt to make an anti-Congress, anti-BJP front?
Well, there are so many contradictions in an anti-Congress, anti-BJP front that, frankly, it's very hard to see how it's going to get off the ground. The time for testing this is still some time away. So, I am not very sure whether, it's going to be a workable front at all. For instance, we saw no evidence of the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister being in part of this grouping.
Yes.
Tamil Nadu contributes a large number, 39 MPs in the assembly, in the Lok Sabha. And you can't really get ahead in any front without some representation from that state. Similarly, just a few months ago, we were told that it is Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, with his maturity and with his sense of appropriate politics, who will be the best candidate to lead this front.
Yes.
So there are a lot of leaders and there are a lot of contradictions, and you can't have a secular front which is minus the Congress and the left, and you can't have the Congress and left in a front that has Mamata Banerjee in it. There are similar other contradictions which I don't think we need to go into now.
Yes.
If they can collaborate and cooperate on limited issues, on a slate of issues, that will be a good thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Let's
But
not be too ambitious.
yes, it has been a non-starter of sorts, definitely a third front. We did see what eventually happened to the Mahagathbandhan even before the Bihar elections. They parted ways. The Samajwadi Party and, of course, Lalu and Nitish eventually joined hands with the Congress. But Arun Jaitley too saying today that this is a tried, tested and failed formula. So there is absolutely no point for the BJP at least to be worried.
Well, the BJP boycotted the swearing in today. So while there was a central minister there in his capacity as presumably as minister, the party continues to oppose Mamata Banerjee. So now how the government at the center and the party in the state is going to reconcile this contradiction, we have to see.
But just talking about Mamata Banerjee, could she be perhaps the glue that could keep this front, if at all it does get formed together? Or do you think that the regional leaders are just so strong personality-wise that, it is still looking very tough?
I can't help thinking about the time that Mamata Banerjee and Samajwadi Party supposedly got together to give the nation a new president of India in opposition to the present president of India. And finally, that collaboration, I won't even go so far as to call it an alliance.
Yes.
That collaboration just collapsed. So it's very difficult to have collaborations which is purely instrumentalist, which is purely transactional for a particular purpose. I think you need to have unity on the basis of programs.
Yes.
You need to have a broader programmatic unity on on issues of communalism, on issues of race, on
Yes.
issues of caste, and just getting together to band together to be an alliance which is opposed to the BJP,
Yeah.
I don't think is a sensible way to go ahead.
All right, we'll have to wait and see what eventually happens. As you know, 2019 is still very far away.
Sure.
But absolutely. Thanks so much, Aditi, for joining us on this big story that we're tracking. We'll, of course, keep an eye out on eventually if we do see that federal front being formed in some way possible. Meanwhile, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi began his third year in office with a trip to the Northeast region. He was in Shillong in Meghalaya to address the Northeastern Council, where he hinted at a possible upgradation of the agency to a state-of-the-art resource centre. He also released a special cover and a stamp bought out by the Department of Posts to mark the occasion. Modi is the first Prime Minister, remember, to attend the NSE meet in over 30 years. He also dedicated a number of development projects in Meghalaya.
There's need to focus on issues of livelihood, skill development and entrepreneurship. That's the call Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave at the 65th plenary session of the Northeast Council that began on Friday. Modi said the country cannot develop if its northeastern region is neglected. And that's why he added that his government is doing its best to reduce isolation of the region by improving connectivity through rail, road and waterway.
The government has been focusing on the development of the northeastern region through its proactive Act East policy. The Northeastern Council should also consider focusing on issues in emerging areas of livelihood, entrepreneurship, venture funds, startups, and skill development. All this will help in generating jobs.
Minister for Development of the Northeast region, Jitendra Singh, also said that in the last 2 years, the Northeastern region has witnessed path-breaking development in all spheres of life. However, a lot remains to be done.
There are 2 or 3 elements which we try to introduce, sir. We sought to go beyond the mandate of development and we owned the region. Whether there was a calamity or a flood or an earthquake or a violent incident, we stood by them so that the donor ministry could identify with them. Secondly, sir, we also try to be a little more innovative and visionary. For example, for the first time in the history of independent India, a region-based road corporation was established.
The council meeting was attended by governors and chief ministers of all northeastern states. Apart from deliberations on ways to develop the region, various agenda items and action taken reports were also discussed during the session. The presence of Narendra Modi made it more significant as it was the first by a Prime Minister in nearly 3 decades. Later, the Prime Minister also addressed a gathering of self-help groups in Meghalaya and dedicated a number of development projects in the northeastern region. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi finally broke his silence too after repeated attacks on Reserve Bank of India Governor Raghuram Rajan, led by BJP leader Subramanian Swamy. In an interview to the Wall Street Journal on the occasion of completing 2 years in office, Prime Minister Modi has said that the issue of reappointment of RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan was an administrative subject and it should not be an issue of interest of the media. BJP leader Subramanian Swamy has levelled many allegations against Rajan, including sending confidential and sensitive financial information around the world, and asked the Prime Minister to sack him immediately. Swamy also alleged that Rajan is working for the US. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has already said that RBI and the government are in continuous dialogue and that relationship will continue. Rajan has expressed his views on a host of issues, including intolerance, and has even described India as a one-eyed king in the land of the blind in reference to the country's high economic growth. Union Minister Jayant Sinha has said that India will have 8 to 10 very competitive public sector banks once the consolidation phase ends. Speaking at an event in Bengaluru, the Minister of State for Finance said that the government is on the 3rd phase of consolidation of bringing down the number of banks from 27. Speaking about the nature of the banks, Sinha said that some banks would be large-scale global players and few of them would be differentiated banks. The minister's comments have come at a time when state-owned banks are struggling under the weight of bad loans. Earlier this month, State Bank of India said that it would merge operations of 5 of its subsidiary banks with itself, marking the first move of consolidation in the sector. The Parliament's Public Accounts Committee has decided to take up the CAG report on the contentious AgustaWestland choppers issue, apart from over half a dozen other defence-related matters. A bulletin issued by Lok Sabha today said that the PSC, which is headed by Congress member KV Thomas, has selected these subjects based on various reports of the CAG pertaining to several ministries and departments for examining them during 2016-17. The issue of acquisition of VVIP helicopters is one of the 100 subjects that the panel will overall examine. BJP leader Vijay Goyal and BJD's B. Mehtab raised the issue to be taken up at the first meeting of the newly constituted PSC on the 18th of May. The VVIP issue had led to a huge controversy during the recently concluded budget session of Parliament. The panel has also decided to continue with its inquiry into some aspects of 2G scam, the Commonwealth Games scam, and the issue of burgeoning non-performing assets of public sector banks. With a quick break here, we'll be back with the top international stories in a bit. Stay with us.
Unless you propagate basic research in India, this country would not catch up with the rest of the world. If you want to come back, then come back as an Indian. If you want to be a foreigner in India, you will never succeed. If we have to import a technology from America, please import it 100%. But work on developing your own technologies.
Watch Eureka with Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi, Vice Chancellor, Kashmir University, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. Let's get you more national news. And the death toll in the massive explosion at an industrial unit in Dombivli district of Maharashtra has risen to 11 today. More than 150 people were injured in the incident and are undergoing treatment in the hospital. The police have registered a case of culpable homicide not amounting to murder against the company management. The explosion occurred yesterday, triggering a blaze in the chemical manufacturing unit. Removal of the debris is still on. The intensity of the blast was such that windows as far as 1 kilometer away were shattered. Meanwhile, CCTV footage of the incident is out. People who were working in adjoining shops are seen escaping after the blast shattered their shop windows. Chemical industries in Dombivli are likely to be shut down for a week to carry out an inspection and combing operation to ascertain implementation of various safety and security measures. And now to our special series on the drought crisis in India. Popularly known as Sun City, the rural areas in Jodhpur is suffering from heavy drought and water crisis. The temperature is breaking all previous records and the crisis is just worsening. There have been several deaths and the tourism industry has now been hit. Here's a special report.
This is Paldi Mangalia village of Jodhpur. It is very close to Marwar's historical capital Mador. Mangalia Paldi Panchayat is in the range of 10 kilometers and the population here is around 5,300. There are many stone factories where people easily get work, but most of the population here is dependent on agriculture. However, the drought this time has made things difficult. There is no water and there are no arrangements for supplying it to.
नहीं, हमारी जो जमीन पंचायत की है, तो जैसे अवैसी योजना काटी तो उसको सीधा पैसा हमारी पंचायत के ऊपर खर्च करना चाहिए. सड़क है, पानी है, बिजली है, इसके ऊपर डेवलपमेंट के लिए.
In rural areas, a number of animals are dying from lack of food and water. The villagers allege that despite repeated reminders to the administration, there is no relief. The rich can afford water through tankers, but the poor rely on the Vishnu Kund that is believed to never dry up. Not only people, but animals also come here to quench their thirst. It is the farmers who are extremely worried.
इसके लिए कोई चारा का इंतजाम नहीं हुआ है और हमारे गौचर भी है हमारे गांव में, उसमें भी कोई चारा इतना नहीं आता है और नई गवर्नमेंट इसकी सुविधा दे रहे हैं.
कार्य कोई सुविधा नहीं है. टैंकर में बड़ा 500 रुपये लेवे. 500 रुपये. सरकारी टैंकर नहीं आता. बिल्कुल नहीं आता.
The situation is more or less the same in 467 village panchayats in the district. 22 lakh people in the district are suffering because of acute lack of water. Peasant leader Bhagirat Chaudhary says government is neglecting farmers.
यहाँ किसानों के लिए सबसे बड़ी तो ये होती है कि तुरंत कोई राहत कार्य हो तो वो उसके काम आते हैं. यहाँ आग लगने के बाद कुआं खोदने जैसी स्थिति है.
Jodhpur is a popular tourist destination, but this time the heat has ensured little traffic. The administration claims it is trying all it can to ensure relief reaches everyone on the ground. But ground realities are quite different. Arvind Kumar Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's head to international news and our top focus. US President Barack Obama today paid tribute to victims of the world's first nuclear attack during a historic visit to Hiroshima. Obama also spoke to a number of survivors. In his address, Obama called on nations to pursue a world without nuclear weapons. He is the first serving US president to visit Hiroshima since the World War II nuclear attack. Here's more.
US President Barack Obama today paid moving tributes to victims of the world's first nuclear attack during his historic visit to Hiroshima, becoming the first serving US president to visit the site since the Second World War nuclear attack. Obama said the memory of Hiroshima must never fade. However, he did not apologize for the US nuclear attack, the world's first nuclear bombing.
Mere words cannot give voice to such suffering. But we have a shared responsibility to look directly into the eye of history and ask what we must do differently to curb such suffering again.
Obama first visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum before walking to the Peace Memorial Park. He was accompanied by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Both men stood in front of the eternal flame. Obama looked somber as he offered the wreath, lowering his head and pausing for a moment with his eyes closed before withdrawing.
We come to ponder a terrible force unleashed in a not-so-distant past. We come to mourn the dead.
の人々のみならず、すべての日本国民が待ち望んだこの歴史的な訪問を心から歓迎したいと思います。
Obama spoke to a number of survivors and shared an emotional embrace with Shigeaki Mori, a 79-year-old Hiroshima survivor. He also called on nations to pursue a world without nuclear weapons.
Nations like my own that hold nuclear stockpiles, we must have the courage to escape the logic of fear and pursue a world without them.
Obama's visit comes more than 7 decades after the world was first shown the potential keys to its own destruction. More than 1 lakh people died in Hiroshima and another 74,000 were killed 2 days later in a second bombing in Nagasaki. Some of them died immediately, while many succumbed to injuries or radiation-related illnesses in the weeks, months and years later on. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
China today urged the G7 summit to focus on economic, financial and development issues of global concern instead of exaggerating regional tensions related to the South China Sea issue. Leaders of the G7 countries, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom and the US, and representatives from the European Union convened in Japan's Ise-shima for the summit Thursday and Friday. Chinese Foreign Ministry described the moves by Japan as petty shrewdness by taking advantage of its status as the host of the G7 summit. China reiterated that their activities in South China Sea are totally justified and lawful, and the country has the right to and must guard its legitimate interests. China urged G7 not to exaggerate or provoke regional tension.
机器的各方本着客观公正的立场和态度，恪守在有关领土争议问题上不持立场的承诺，停止发表不负责任的言论，多做有利于地区和平稳定的事。
319 passengers and crew members were evacuated from a Korean Air Boeing 777 early today at Tokyo's Haneda Airport after one of the engines caught fire. The plane, which was bound for South Korea's Gimpo International, deployed all its inflatable emergency evacuation slides. No injuries were reported, although about 30 passengers are said that they felt unwell. The incident prompted authorities to temporarily close down Japan's business aviation hub, which resulted in 297 flights being cancelled, 57 planes diverted elsewhere, affecting travel plans of nearly 50,000 passengers. And now on to some sports news, starting with tennis. And 9-time winner Rafael Nadal has pulled out of the French Open because of a wrist injury. Nadal had progressed to the third round with a straight sets win over Facundo Bagnis on Thursday, claiming his 200th win in a Grand Slam tournament. While speaking at a hastily arranged news conference in Paris, the Spaniard said that he risked further injury and a likely break in his wrist if he continued to play. With that, let's also take you through some more updates from the world of sports and Sportsbeat. Leander Paes and Rohan Bopanna have sailed into the men's doubles third round with their respective partners at the French Open. The Indo-Romanian combination of Bopanna and Florin Mergia defeated the French pair of Grigore Barrere and Quentin Haley's 6-3, 6-4 in the second round, while Paes and his Polish partner Martin Matkowski also won their second round match comfortably. Indian boxer Sonia Lathar has settled for a silver medal at the Women's World Championships at Astana in Kazakhstan today. Sonia lost 1-2 to top-seeded Alicia Messiano of Italy in the 57-kilogram category. Indian squash player Joshna Chinnappa has advanced to the final of the international tournament in Hong Kong today. Chinnappa carved out a close win against defending champion Annie Au in the semi-finals. She will next face New Zealand's Joel King in the final on Saturday. The International Olympic Committee today said that a total of 23 athletes from 5 sports tested positive for banned drugs in rechecks of the 265 samples from the London 2012 Olympics. Last week, the organization found 31 athletes from 6 sports who could be banned from the Rio Games in August after failing doping tests when 454 samples were re-examined from the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Former Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho has been officially confirmed as Manchester United's manager. He has signed a 3-year contract with an option to stay at the club until at least 2020. Mourinho replaces Dutchman Louis van Gaal, who was dismissed on Monday, just 2 days after the club's FA Cup win. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.